Alright, now we're going to read a new chapter of Bakemonogatari. I think this series has been on some sort of hiatus because Oh Great had some sort of medical problem, which is of course quite unfortunate. Mangaka is a brutal career. I've talked at some length about this before, but when you really think about what is being asked of a mangaka, the combination of extremely demanding technical work on like a very physical level, a very physical medium, and at the same time a consistent demand of extremely creative work, which is on an almost unprecedented scale focalized entirely into one person, demanded of exclusively just the mangaka. Of course, there's assistants, and this is being co-written with someone, and it's based on an adaptation. But even with all of that, even with all of the editorial support and everything, there's very few mediums that have both this combination of an extremely isolated responsibility, with most of the focus being put on just one person, and an extremely demanding schedule, where that one person is not just kind of working at their own pace, putting out, say, an album every couple of years whenever they have the material, but is having their material requested month after month after month, or week after week after week. Anyways, so it always hurts when a mangaka suffers health problems, and we always wish for their speedy and recovery and maintenance of good health. But it's not that surprising, I guess is what I'm saying. Unfortunately, it is not that surprising. So, after quite a break, we return to the arc of Sengoku-san, who we have here, Renai circulating past in Nendroid form. It's a good little prop, right? She's at the shrine in her school swimsuit. They're preparing the ritual to dispel the snake serpent curse that has been constraining her. So this mark's really hurt, right? Are you okay? Okay. It's not like she can't endure this. I'm not attacking you, but it's actually kind of weird to think your only choice is to endure it. If it hurts, just say it hurts. How gallant, of course, Koyomi. This is him to a T. If you haven't, be sure to tell me. Keep it up. And he's got the inverted cross of Oshino-san, which I guess has some sort of talismanic property. It's going to help out Sengoku here. Yeah, just watch Nedeka. Oshino taught me the ceremony to get rid of the Jagiri Nawa. Just make sure to watch Nedeka. So this is this kind of emphasis that she wants him to watch, I think, is quite interesting. Of course, there's the kind of practical level where we're dealing with the supernatural entity. She's very scared, very nervous that something will go wrong, in pain. She wants this comforting presence of the older boy that she loves to make sure that things go okay. But if we remember Papa Zizek and his wonderful interpretation of the birds, the Hitchcock movie, you should remove the supernatural element from these sorts of works and examine what is happening on the purely social level to understand, if not a deeper meaning, then at least kind of a different perspective on the meaning that could be more bearing on sort of our cultural consciousness in general. So do I even want to get into this? What is the point of talking about things like this? It might just make me sound like a pervert. But this is a story of a middle school girl who's having this crisis. It doesn't need to be a crisis of being cursed by a snake, but a crisis where she's feeling isolated from her peers, where people are kind of talking behind her back, making her feel unwelcome. And kind of her only lifeline, the only thing that she sees any hope of salvation in, is Araragi, who pays her attention, who is kind to her, who wants to help her and save her. And so what she sees is this sort of asymmetry where like he's trying to meet her needs and trying to save her, but what she doesn't just want is kind of maintenance of this current status quo where she's being bullied and is unhappy, but some sort of transcendental happiness, something beyond that, which will bring her fulfillment and meaning and self assurance and stuff beyond just solving the problem at hand. Okay, so what I'm suggesting here is that she wants Araragi to recognize her in some more significant way, in kind of a more significant relationship, so that she can be kind of lifted out of her peerdom. You kind of get what I'm saying? And of course we can see this as sort of a sexual thing, that she wants Araragi to basically see her as a woman. This has always been my take on this arc. And I don't know if we've read everything that requires this sort of take. Like there's a lot of evidence of this more later. So I hope this kind of makes sense to you. But I always thought that this was the key scene, that she's saying, make sure to watch. Like, make sure to really see me as who I am. Not just your conception of me based on knowing me as a child, but who I am now. Anyways, I think it's really interesting. And I hope you don't just take my takeaway as that I'm reading all sorts of perverted things into Bakemonogatari, because of course you can't read perverted things into the series. The series is just inherently so perverted. But that I think that's actually quite a beautiful story. I think that's actually a story that should be told, as it's an experience that I think a lot of people go through, is wanting to be seen as an adult and seeing the world of adults, the world of peerage among adults, and not the mean, cruel, violent world of children. Seeing salvation in that maturation, I think is something that's a very common experience, and something that we should talk about, because of course it can go quite poorly as well. And anyways, all right, let's just move on. I just always thought this line was key. Make sure to watch. The way she repeats it like 5 or 6 times. Okay, so I'm talking about the ritual. Close your eyes, control your breath. Just concentrate on praying inside the barrier. That's all. uh, they're having this very unashamed conversation. According to what I heard, this girl happened to have a guy she loved for the longest time. Which is, of course, Araragi-san. Not that his density, his localized extreme MC density will allow him to figure that out right now, but whatever. I envy him. I didn't feel any sort of weird distance between us until just a few minutes ago. Yeah, she had a long rant about the poor endangered school swimsuit. She would assume I would wear that or something. She wanted all of them to dress up. And again, they've done this so many times, but it cracks me up every time, where they have this really wonderful background shot of the shrine with sort of photorealistic details and this lovely sort of enchanted glow to it. Something that if you actually encountered it, you would be overwhelmed by serenity and a deep sense of the past and kind of a meditative longing. But instead, it's literally blocked out. We cannot see it because of their stupid, gigantic ranting bubbles about the most irreverent and perverse topics. That's hilarious. That's just this series in a nutshell. This is why I was trying to adapt to your taste, senpai. Don't do that. And all of this banter has distracted Sengoku, of course. Let's go this trouble Was Chan's method wrong or something? She was gallantly killing those snakes. I think gallantly is not exactly the best phrasing. Wouldn't work. Method itself wasn't wrong. Apparently it's actually the right one. But in this case, it might have actually exposed her to more danger. Wall of irresponsibility. That's how Oshino phrased it. They instinctively protect themselves even when they're cursed. She only felt the danger to her own body just now. Irresponsibility. Basically, she can't do anything about things that are out of reach for her. If it's within her grasp, if it's in her personal space, she will take responsibility no matter what happens, because she can do something. Okay, this all makes sense. After all, even though she was cursed, it never actually affected the Sengoku. Because you know, a curse that some amateur middle school kid cast would not do a thing. Right. This is pretty key to the understanding of this arc on the supernatural actual plot element. Not in my whole theory of this being an extended kind of story of adolescent longing for maturity and stuff. That's beside the point. But yes, Sengoku was not actually cursed. It was a fake curse sold by, you know, our best boy Kaiki. Goku seriously believed it and researched her curse in a bookstore. She happened to come here where there are a lot of snakes. She ended up performing the release ritual where you dice up the snakes. She made her curse real. I love in this flashback, Haragi just lying on the floor staring at her. Can't help it. Even in the briefest of flashbacks, his true personality is revealed. Gods get angry. This is Kitashiro Habi Shrine, a central area for snake worship in the area. She killed many snakes here. Many bad things were heard into this area, and then of all the things she could do, she performed the correct ritual. She ended up activating in reverse. Yeah, that's quite a sad piece of irony. Because she took it so seriously, she made it real. And this is a very common pattern in the Monogatari series. My favorite instance of it is in Koyomi Monogatari, this sort of side story series, where people started ironically worshipping the art project that Koyomi threw out, the stone inside an amateurishly constructed shrine. And their ironic worship eventually escalates into something that actually starts taking on supernatural powers and needs to be disposed of. This kind of idea that even if the foundations aren't there, even if you're not doing it for a good reason, if you just sort of behave ritualistically and you know, put your actions speaking louder than words, I guess is what you would say in this sort of scenario, that things can get out of hand anyways. If you believe it, it's true. That kind of mentality. Anyways, yeah. Most important thing here is sequence, the framework. Yeah. The place. There was Senjogohara, Kanbaru, Hachikuchi. The abnormalities each appeared after the conditions were constructed in the right order. Here again, we see some odd non-kanji spiraling together to form a perfectly constructed cube. This being a really cool metaphor, actually, of how these supernatural events occur. That everything needs to be in place. The people, the circumstances, the location, the timing, and then finally something beyond description can happen. Something I've only learned online. Kanji for curse can be formed by using the kanji for person and mouth. Oh. So the radical on the right I know of as like older brother, I'm pretty sure. It's just older brother by itself, and then the one on the left, of course, is mouth, yeah. Mouth is basically a hole, no? It's a hole where your own words and thoughts come out of. Two meanings behind a hole: to enter and to exit. Ah, so even if you're not speaking out a curse, the curse can be spoken into you, I guess is what they're saying here. Again, a really crazy visual metaphor. This intricate psychedelic eye passing through a hole of the mouth with words and curses like fine hairs streaming in and out of it. What does it mean? Well, how does Oh Great come up with this stuff, honestly? It must be stuff that he sees in dreams. This is unreal. In her unjustified resentment, that friend of hers opened up a curse hole. Shine. This is Shine. A kanji that has always kind of haunted me ever since I learned it. And sometimes I get outside, like Soto, mixed up with that. And then you see Soto in like so many innocent contexts. And every once in a while I'll just be like, dead? Like it'll just shock me, like, dead person? No, foreigner. Oh, okay. Sengoku herself ended up opening the reverse hole. Right. Curse is opening a hole in the wall between you and the other person. So even if her friend didn't actually curse her, didn't actually do something, when she tried to nail in all of those resentful statements, the hole was still opened up. The connection was still made through that hole. By utter coincidence, Sengoku did the correct order in reverse. So she opened a direct tunnel between herself and the girl who cursed her by her own accord. The girl put the snake into her body on her own. That was the wrong way. She might have made the situation a lot worse. Yeah. Bad luck. Not bad. Oh no, what's she gonna say? Some joke about holes. Oh, it's amazing you arrived at that conclusion by yourself, Araragi-senpai. That's what I wanted to say. Wow. Whoa. What a surprisingly genuine statement. She's not pouring on and on endless hyperbolic compliments of Araragi-senpai being the greatest genius of all time or whatever. She's just kindly and openly acknowledging that he made a good insight here. Cool. Yeah, that's nice. He's shocked. A lot of hints for Moshino. Anyone can. It's a lie. If this was me from several months ago, I wouldn't have understood the situation at all, even with all the hints. Yeah. Loving curses are the same, right? What things even come from? Human strength goes down. When I said that, I increased the strength of my personal space to its maximum level and made it my wall. Ooh! Ooh! So now we're somehow transitioning into questions of the fundamental character of Araragi, which is something that we haven't yet addressed in this adaptation of the story, right? Like, this is something that starts coming out in Bakemonogatari. And there's a few references to it in Nisei, I believe, where Tsuki, what's his sister's name? Tsukihime? Is it really that? Just Bird Princess? No, I don't know. I don't remember what her name is. At any rate, the littler little sister makes some joke about, didn't you always go around saying that having friends makes you weaker? There's like some cooler way that he phrased it, I think, but it's really not that cool. It's all very lame and just an excuse for being a loner. And then in Bakemonogatari, he proudly tries to explain this to Hanekawa, and Hanekawa's just like, are you literally an idiot? And now he's returning to this of his own accord. He's introspecting about his past beliefs, which is pretty amazing. It really shows some maturity on Araragi's part. And again, yeah, it kind of connects to this idea of your wall of personal responsibility. And Araragi's viewpoint is basically, if you let yourself rely on other people, if you let yourself have friendships and kind of share responsibility for things, won't that make you weaker as a human being? But if you really want to remain strong, you should just be able to do everything yourself. It's an interesting sort of viewpoint. It's sort of like an extreme isolationist stoicism or whatever. And although I don't think really many people want to live that way, and I certainly agree that it's better to not live that way, it's a philosophy worth examining through various other lenses. In the series, the Toribochi no Marumaru Seikatsu, there's a character that speaks like this. In Yugami-kun, I'm sorry, Has No Friends, a manga that I'm reading now, the main titular character, Yugami-kun, Kun has very much this philosophy that friendships are unnecessary. I can just do everything by myself. Yeah, it's an interesting one. It's a very interesting thing to consider. So let's hear about Araragi's wall. What? I can't be ready for this too. I was already so shocked that we were going so deep into Araragi's character that he was going to introspect on things that hadn't even really been hinted at in the manga so far. And then it's gonna hit me with this flashback to the confession, the butterfly, the music, the hearts, the flowers. Ha! Ha! Still one of my favorite scenes of all time in any manga. It's just so beautifully depicted. At that moment, I was cursed. Really, he was. His wall was torn down. A major hole was just kicked through it with those words. With those few words, that girl opened a hole in me, an amazingly large hole. And look at his small little smile as he considers this. Ah! Alright, that was nice. That's the end of the chapter, unfortunately. I'm hoping more regular chapters will start to resume. I guess it's really not that delayed. Like, I think normally it's bi-weekly, and this we missed like one bi-weekly chapter. So we're back in the swing of it soon. I'm very excited to see the conclusion, of course, of the Sengoku arc and all of the fun times that follow. What a crazy series. Okay, bye-bye for now.